No.
Hey, everybody, come on in. It's Sunday Funnies. I have no plan for this episode. Absolutely none. So expect a wandering conversation. Come on in. If you want to join in, you're welcome. Just PM me over on my Facebook page. I will happily send you a link. And we'll talk about comics. Let's talk about comics. Let's talk about fun things. Let's talk about our passion for this art form and how we love it so. Sin Killers in the house. Good morning, Marv. Greetings, sinners. See you on the replay. I'm not at home right now. Take care. Okay. Nice to know. I'm not sure who's even up this morning. So I didn't send a link to Scott Rosema. I know he's at Grand Rapids Con.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How far's Grand Rapids from you?
It's a 2-hour drive, dead west from where I'm at.
Right.
So it's all the way across the state. We're not more than anybody who lives in Michigan isn't more than an hour away from a Great Lake, hour and a half. And my way, if I go straight north, I'll get into Saginaw Bay, and that's the little bay right there in the mitten. Yeah. So, and if I drive an hour and 10, I would say to the east, I'll hit Lake Huron. If I drive 2 hours to the west, I'll hit Lake Michigan.
Well, big place.
Well, the older I get, the more I love this state, especially from spring to fall. The winters, I could live in New Mexico or Texas, as far as that goes. I'd much rather have the heat than the cold.
Yeah.
So come on in, everybody. We're going to run our opening, and then we're going to find something to talk about. Hopefully not the weather. Here we go. Hang on. And there we are. I'm not sure if I should leave my maniacal laughter in or out.
You should get Daphne on it.
I should. Hey, everybody, come on in. This is Sunday Funnies for the 10th of April, 2022. We are officially 1 week away from having to tell the government how much taxes we're going to pay them. Next Monday, not this Monday, but next Monday. Luckily, I've already visited my accountant. I do it in about the middle of February. So just to get the pain over with, in case I misjudged.
Do you have to do a tax thing when you're employed? You know, by a company. Do you have to do your own tax?
Oh yeah.
The company don't do it. Because we do all that. If you've got a job somewhere, that's all usually taken care of, unless you work freelance.
Wow.
You know,
that's amazing.
They call it PAYE, pay as you earn. So what you do is you get 100 quid a week, and then that's your salary, and then you get 60 in your hand, and the rest is paid for.
Well, we do that too. It's just that we have to account for it at the end. We get what they call a W-2 form from people, from employers that deduct taxes out from you. Freelancer like me, I get a series of 1099s from different clients.
Right.
Any client that I have made over $600 from in the last year has to serve me a 1099, which I then have to claim and pay taxes on.
Okay. So it's double the pain. You've got to claim to pay your tax.
Yeah, but this is also why it's so important. And I tell everybody that if they're freelancing, they absolutely have to have an accountant, because you get a good accountant that knows the tax laws, knows the tax structure, has been doing it for a few years. And all of I can never keep a regular accountant for like more than 10, 12 years because they keep retiring on me. That's my story, because they specialize in small businesses.
Right.
And in doing so, I'm able to deduct a section of my house utilities, and
we do all that.
Yeah, because I do because I do comics, every comic, every book, every movie, every video, every that I see or pay any money for, that's all deductible for research.
Yeah, petrol and things like that, gas and all that. Yeah.
Nope. Sorry. No. Not the petrol. I wish it was. I wish, especially right now, I wish gas was deductible. We can deduct the amount of miles that we've traveled.
Right.
At a certain percentage.
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, we don't get it all. We just
but we can't. I can't keep my my gas receipts and totally deduct that.
No, we don't do that. We just do a part of it, but it's all part of into the pot, and like you say, a good accountant will sort it all out for you, won't they?
Yeah. That's why accountants are so important. I keep track through the year. Every month I get a statement from the bank, and I make sure the books are balanced, so I know how much money is in whatever account.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the once a year we hit the accountant, and
that must be why they retire every 10 years, because they made a lot of money off everybody.
Yeah. It's just it's a lot of work. And anymore, it's a really good computer program. John Celestri might be joining us in a bit. Same thing with Russ. They're welcome to join in. I think I sent John a link. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I did. Anyway, but hey, we've all the comic book workers here have been freelancers, even the ones that have been cogs in the great machines, unless they're paid an hourly or salary type wage from the companies, and then they're part of the office staff. Then they get W-2'd.
I wonder if that'll ever be cleared up, that thing about in the past where people have worked for companies but been working freelance, but everything they put on the paper was somebody else's. I wonder if it'll ever it's a quagmire, isn't it? The copyright law.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll ever be resolved.
Well, the copyright law here is really the modern copyright law. It just all goes to the corporations.
Yeah.
So, and then any residual or royalty that is paid to the creators is out of the kindness of the heart of the corporation. And since COVID, they've really tightened their purse strings really badly.
Yeah.
And it's starting to drive a lot of people crazy. There was one guy who refused his money for, let me think, what was that he refused money for? One of his creations, America Chavez, for Marvel, because she's popping up in the next Doctor Strange movie that's coming out in a couple of weeks. They tried to pay him a royalty fee. He laughed at it and threw it back in their face. And over here with DC, Alan Moore has totally refused any type of royalty coming from his stuff, because he says they'll never do it right, and it'll always be a bastardization of his intent.
I know he gave his fee for the Watchmen film to Dave Gibbons, didn't he?
All of his money goes back to the artists.
Yeah,
is what he's told him. He says, it's I don't want it, but give it to the artist because they earned it.
Yeah.
So there's a great story from Stephen Bissett, who said that he went to his mailbox a few years back and caught what would that be, a five-figure check.
Wow.
Just for John Constantine, when Keanu Reeves did the John Constantine movie. And he said it's funny too, because Alan Moore wrote me, or in the script that Moore wrote, he said that he wanted to see Sting in a trench coat, and that's what he did.
Right.
Do Sting in a trench coat, and now boom, here's a huge check for tens of thousands of dollars, because he was the first one to draw that picture.
But he's not getting Alan Moore's.
He's what?
Is he getting Alan Moore's cut?
I'm pretty sure he is, yes.
Wow.
Because Moore has just totally refused any type of royalty payment from DC. He's just fed up with them.
Wow. I mean, even so, he would have still picked up a lot of money, wouldn't he?
Yeah, over the years, he'd have probably made a good chunk, but he figures he doesn't. It's blood money, It's the way he looks at it. It's just money for raping his kids, pretty much. Not to be that blunt, but hey, I should warn everybody we're TV MADLSV, so you might hear some harsh language, and this is not necessarily a conversation for kids, but I don't think there's a lot of young kids that listen to us anyway. I'm your host. I'm Randy Zimmerman. I've been doing alternative and independent comics for many decades. I've got a lot of experience in this field, seen a lot of things, done a lot of things, had a lot of things done to me. And worked for everybody except the big two on a regular basis. I did design a shirt one time that Marvel had to approve. That was a pain. But other than that, there was a particular Pantone blue that we had to use for the Beast, and it had to fit a certain number. Nowadays, you look at him and, he's all the way across the spectrum blue, depending upon who's shading him and who's coloring him. But back then, one color. That was it. Well, since we were silk screening the shirts, we only did, I think it was a 5-color shirt anyway, but it was a picture of Gambit lighting a card with Colossus and Beast in it because they were the easy characters to do in simple colors.
I had a simple thing on when I was drawing no lesser franchise than Postman Pat. He could only be a certain blue, and his nose could only be a certain length, and the cat could never be above his knee. And oh, what a nightmare that was! I mean, I really enjoyed working on that, but it was a nightmare. But not as big a nightmare as My Little Pony, which I gave up. I couldn't do that.
Sometimes the biggest restrictions are the largest challengers.
Yeah.
We're joined right now with Russ Leach. Russ, how are you?
Good day. Fine, thank you.
You're nice and bright over there. Yeah.
Yes, this is a lovely day here.
Who's that little fella, Russ, that keeps following you around?
It's the monkey.
Yeah.
It's the Beacon Tips monkey. Monkey. Get me a cup of tea. It was from an advertising campaign some time ago with Johnny Vegas, and my kids wanted one, so I bought a box of tea with a monkey on it.
You bought the box of tea just for the monkey, didn't you?
Just for the monkey, yeah. I don't drink Thai food tea. It was Thai food, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I have a monkey too, but he's hooked up to a timer.
Check it out the monkey timer.
The monkey timer. He goes off once an hour.
I got Marvin over my shoulder.
Reminds me to get off my ass. Yeah, nice Marvin, I should say. Nice Marvin back there.
Yeah,
Marvin. Who else is back there? A couple of Funko Pops.
It's some Funko Pops.
On the loose, out of the box. Yeah.
Dr. Doom.
And a Dr. Doom.
Has he got a bra on? Has he got a bra on? Has he got a bra on?
Has he got a bra on? Yeah. Yeah, well, he's got the appropriate cup.
Is he gender liquid?
Gender liquid.
Gender fluid.
He's got a nice skirt on.
There we are.
The original gender fluid villain. And then there's some Batman up there. So there you go.
Awesomeness.
Yeah. It was some of your photographs of your studio the other day. Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's all sorted out now.
So I just recirculated on Facebook again too.
Yeah, I've got it all permanently set up the way I want it to now because I've been wanting a big drawing board for a while, but obviously I use digital as well. So I got myself a new Cintiq 22, and I've basically screwed it to the board so that I have the digital on the right hand side of the board and inking on the left hand side of the board. So I'm all set up now. So.
You didn't go for the 27, huh? You went for the 22?
No, because I'm not. I already had a 22 HD, a 2011 version, and I'm not painting. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. I'm just penciling. So I wanted a basic version. So I think it was £800 or something. I think you could get the HP pen and the other one, the Huion or whatever. You can get them for half the price. But for that price, I thought it was worthwhile taking a shot on it. So I've effectively got that, like I say, screwed to the board, so that I can transfer in between the two anytime I like. So yeah, things are just around set up. But I got myself a new computer as well. But I haven't been able to. I haven't had the time to set it up yet.
Yeah,
it's bonkers.
Bonkers in a good way, though.
Oh yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
It's either feast or famine in this business, and when you're feasting is always good.
Yeah, when you're feasting, there's no time to do anything else.
And when you're in a dry period, you're freaking out that there's no money coming in.
Yeah, where's the money gone?
Yeah.
No.
then you put out all of those inquiries, and then you get slammed with business. So it's either
I had to turn down a 24-page comic the other day.
Ouch.
Yeah. So that was.
But I guess that's a good thing if you're too busy. So
yeah, I mean, if you're too busy to take on a 24-page comic, a single one, then yes, you must be busy. So yeah, can't complain.
Awesome. Well, Glenn hasn't done his introductions yet, but why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll have Russ introduce himself, and
Okay.
we'll start talking about something.
Yeah, I'm Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher. I publish this magazine, Comics Unlimited, and there's a new issue coming out. I think where are we? April? In May, late April, May, a couple of weeks. I write books and things like that. You can find all those on Amazon, different subjects. And currently, you can get this on Indiegogo on In Demand, which details my visits to Jack Kirby's house back in the 80s and early 90s. And with that, you get a DVD of me talking with him. So you get the whole thing. You've got 3/4 of an hour in the studio talking to him, and then the rest of the book covers my journey to him, and the conversations that are not on the film. If that makes sense. So that's on Indiegogo, In Demand right now.
Cool.
Randy has his copy, and Russ was very kind enough to back the first. Was the first number one backer, and he will get a special prize from me, special gift as a thank you.
That's so cool.
And
we had Christy Shin.
I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We had Christy Shin on Wednesday on the Zimcast, and she made it a point to tell everybody she does a personalized disparaging remark along with her signature. Every book that she sells. Yeah. It's a term of endearment when I call
makes you feel special.
A name. Yeah, makes you feel special. Like, take
that's
this,
it.
you
Anyway,
little shit.
That's me. Down to you, Russ.
Russ, introduce yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to abuse you anytime you like. We're personalized as well, if you really want.
Yeah.
My name's Russ Leach. I'm a comic book artist from the UK. Currently working his backside off. And you can see me around the place shouting at parked cars and doing all kinds of strange stuff. You can find me at russleach.com.
There you go. And are you still working on Doctor Who?
Yeah, I've got. I did. I did 5 pages this week of stuff for Heartbeat, Liverpool Heartbeat magazine. Which is cool. Like a charity magazine, but they do all kinds of different stories, all educational stuff. And this one was about the Queen. So I did 5 pages about the Queen this week and a cover. But I just finished off 6 pages of pencil and inking the Doctor Who magazine for the month. I'm finishing off 5 pages of something this week that I can't talk about yet, but I will be able to talk about soon.
In about a month, right? In about a month.
It's been put back by a month or so, but yeah, very very soon. It's okay. Good. I've been told where it's going across Europe, so I'll be able to talk about it soon. And then obviously final.
It's going across Europe. They're mailing it to somebody, and it's
being printed. It's being printed in several countries. So it's got to be. So I do the English version, and then it gets reproduced in 3 other countries in Europe. Mm-hmm. And then also I've got the final part of Only Death Can Save Us, which unfortunately I had to tell everybody that I'd had to delay slightly, but that's still looking good to come out in June. So it's non-stop. It's great.
The final part. Cool.
Well, I've got it's 3 parts to the book, you see,
right.
And I've put the second part has been everything's been lettered. It's being coloured at the moment. The second part, the final part, which I'm penciling and inking next month. Then that will be ready for June to go out to print to June. Presumably, I'm pretty sure it will be. But my daughter's been doing the colouring for me, so I've been able to keep it in house and to keep an eye over it. I've had a couple of colorists kind of fall away from me where they couldn't actually do the work they said they were going to do. Nothing on them. It was just the way things happened.
Are you really strict with her as far as their coloring goes?
Yeah.
And she
You should
complains,
be.
Dad, you're a slave driver. Leave me alone.
No, she's very good. She's very good.
Oh, good. Yeah,
So, yeah,
she'd have to be good for you to trust her to do the colors on that.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is, I think I can be quite open about this now. That the first 2 books were crowdfunded,
Mhm.
and I think I'm going to go to most likely Amazon for the 3rd book, and then what I'm going to do is reproduce all the books through Amazon. So the point being is that those people that help me out by supporting me in the first 2 books, because obviously you pay a little bit more for the book, you get something a little bit special. So those books are never going to be reproduced anywhere ever again. They are special. They are unique to those backers, and they get those specific books. But I'll re-edit bits and pieces and send them out as 3 books, have them published as 3 books, and then finally as a compendium, a black and white compendium. I'm gonna call it a comic book black belt essentials, and it's going to be The Only Death Can Save Us, all 3 books in one, but in black and white. So the point being is that those final 2 books, the final part and the final black and white book, will be much cheaper and much cheaper to post. And so the people that have helped me, that have supported me in the first 2 campaigns, I'm effectively giving it back. I'm basically saying, look, you're going to be able to get these books, the 3rd part and the compendium, if you want it, for a fraction of the price of the 2 books that you supported me on. And that's the point, is to get it out to a bigger audience, but also to give something back to those backers. So there probably won't be a campaign for the 3rd book, but I will be obviously hitting my mailing list and getting out there and speaking to people and saying, look, this is where you can go get it for $9.99 or whatever it might be, which is obviously a lot cheaper than you can do a fully backed book for.
Is your second book still on demand?
That's where that's going. The 2nd book is still on demand, yes, but I'm going to be taking that down real soon. So
don't take it down without telling me.
No, I won't, mate. I won't. I'll send
you.
out a message. I will be sending out a message to tell everybody that. That's what's going on there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all good. Like I say, I can't really complain. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm drawing pages. That's it. Just throwing myself at the board every day.
But you just turned down 24 pages.
I had no choice.
Surely you don't need any sleep. You should carry on.
I don't need sleep. I'm not you, Glenn. I'm not super Glenn who doesn't need sleep. I'm afraid I'm still in that camp where I need to go to sleep.
Right.
Well, if you can't fit it into your schedule, you can't fit it into your schedule.
That's right.
No, that's right. I mean, it was from someone I know quite well and who's been very nice to me. And it would have been great to have done the book, but I'm not going to take on something that then not only makes what I've currently got late, which is no good. Okay, I don't like doing that. I mean, to a degree, you have to accept some of that with crowdfunding books because you have to eat, okay, and you have to pay the mortgage and all that kind of stuff. But if you've already taken on a solid piece of paid work and then make that late for another piece of solid paid work, that's not fair.
You rush it.
I don't want to rush anything. I want to give it my best work, and I don't want to say to people, "Oh, I haven't hit the deadline." I loathe. I mean, the fact that I'm late on my own book, I loathe. But I have to be realistic. The world is what it is, and you have to work with that. But certainly, if people are coming to you, offering a piece of paid work, briefing it, and expecting it at a certain time, you've got to hit the schedule, and it's not fair not to do that. So I'd rather turn work away than leave someone in awkward situation.
You've got to save your reputation as well, haven't you? You don't want to be...
Exactly.
Get that disappointment out of the way right off the bat. That's what it is.
Yeah. Just get rid of the disappointment now.
Bristolian Dave says, "All right, me babbers," and he also says, "It's Russ. Haven't seen you in ages, mate. How's everything?"
Yeah, good. I'm just Nose to the grindstone.
Just rewind and you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Is your
nose to the grindstone.
If you don't want to discuss this, it's fine. But is your home back to normal?
Oh yeah, nearly. Karen's got a hospital appointment tomorrow. That's my wife. Karen's got a hospital appointment tomorrow, and hopefully that will be after that. It's all downhill. It's all healing. It's everything's back to where it should be. So
and your house, all right, all good.
Oh, my house. Oh no, they still haven't fixed the roof. Oh. They did a temporary fix, but I've had to wait for quotes. So the roofer has quoted, but he says I've got to go and get a quote from the scaffolding guy. Because what we've done is we've said, okay, well, we need the work on the roof done, but we've got some other bits and pieces that, there's nothing to do with storm damage. So while they're up there, they might as well do those. But obviously we have to pay extra for that because that's ours. It's not through insurance. You only pay for what, what the damage was. But they have to do extra quotes on that. So they have to go away and find a bloody scaffolding guy. And you can never find a scaffolder when you want one. A bit like plumbers. And so I still haven't got the full quote back. Hopefully next week, but then you've got to book them in. Yeah, Glenn will know what this is like. Trying to find a roofer.
Yeah,
trying to find a roofer in the UK
any kind of workman
is a nightmare.
These days.
Any kind of workman these days. Yeah. So it'll probably be another month before they can come around and do the work. So,
do you have the
it is what it is.
Worker shortages like we have over here right now? Everybody got during the bug, everybody got laid off and they ran to other places or whatever.
Nobody's doing the trade anymore, are they, Russ? Nobody's. They're not taking it up. They all want to be a rock star or an X Factor.
To be perfectly honest, that's been going on for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Where it's been harder and harder to find people that do actual jobs. Yeah. No, not like people like me who draw for comics for a living. That's not a proper
real job. They've got a real job.
I'm talking about real jobs, plumbers, electricians, builders.
Skilled trades, we call them over here.
Skilled trades, exactly. And Glenn is absolutely right. Unfortunately, we have, and it hasn't just been in the last 10, 15 years. You can't just blame
building up.
Blame young people for it. It's been over a period of time where the general populace, as exactly like Glenn was saying, has got the X factor, twinkle in their eye. None of them actually want to do a proper job. They want to. They want to. They want to do. It's all very well. Not everybody is right for being their own business, having their own business or being their own boss.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with working as a street cleaner if that's what you enjoy, that's what you love. There's nothing wrong with working in a shop if that's what you enjoy and that's what you love. Or even if it's just like, no, I just want a really simple job so I can do what I want at the weekends. Nothing wrong with any of those things. But unfortunately, all these normal jobs are being looked down upon.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the jobs that make the country work. They're the jobs that keep society going, and it's unfortunate that so many people are having their heads turned to think it's not just about, we all wanted to be back when we were kids, Glenn, everybody would have been jumping on their sofa with their hairbrush wanting to be David Essex or Donny Osmond or something. For those kids out there who don't know those names, I'm sorry. But it's always been there, but there seems to be this air that's created over the last 20, 30 years, and it's got worse and worse and worse, where it's like you can do whatever you want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that intention as long as you're realistic about it. So
now they're going into the entitled mode, aren't they?
Exactly. We're entitled to be David Essex.
Yeah.
Who knew that? Who knew that was going to come? Oh dear.
I'm
going to make you a star, Glenn.
Yeah.
Over here, they're programming the kids that as soon as they're done with high school, they go directly to college and get deep into debt.
Yeah, well, that's happened over here now as well.
And then they go after meaningless paper that they can't apply when they get back out into the real world.
Right. I mean, we've had this snobbish perspective of trades for a long time, where things started to move away from scholarships and apprenticeships. Yes. And actually, scholarships and apprenticeships are the things that actually make things happen. because they're involved with people that make things, that do things, that make the economy work. So
about 14 years ago, when I was last working for a big company, I obviously worked in the art department, doing the brochures and the literature and all that kind of thing, and the illustrations and photography. And I had can't remember how many now, 5 or 6 22-year-olds. I'd been doing my job longer than they'd been alive, and they all had degrees, and they had degrees in geology, aerospace, science, nothing to do with the actual job they were doing, which was the marketing department. And they would come in, and I had a guy, believe it or not, 26 years old. I had a guy, and he came in and he told me he wanted a 3-page leaflet. When I said you cannot have a 3-page leaflet, he thought I was being belligerent. I said, look, God won't let you have a 3-page leaflet. So he went to my boss and asked and told him what I'd said, and my boss said, well, you can't have a 3-page leaflet. You can't print. And he just walked off. He didn't apologize or anything. But what he was doing, he was looking at the screen, you see. So he thought he could have 3 pages, because you can have 3 pages on a computer screen, can't you?
Sure. Yeah.
But you can't print it. And I showed him. I got a piece of paper, folded it. I said, how many sides has that got? And he said 2. I said, folded it. 4. Show me how I can produce 3 pages. And he thought I was being belligerent. And I thought, I've had enough of this crap. These kids telling you how to do my job, you know. I didn't tell them how to do their job. Don't tell me how to do mine, you know.
I think Bristolian Dave's got a great point. He's talking about the Great Resignation, which are the lockdowns, which in my view should never have happened. But there you go. We'll leave that for another day. People don't want awful pay for a rubbish job, and you're absolutely right. People don't. This is going to be very unpopular for a lot of people. I know that we have terrible inflation on both sides of the Atlantic, and that is down to political idiocy, to be brutally honest with you. Yeah. However, saying that, we needed to have a big realignment because things were a bit too cheap. And my view is, if you have a business where you can't pay the people that run that business, that work for you, a proper wage, then you have no business plan. Okay? A business is nothing without the people that work for you. So if you can't afford to give them the life that, you know, a decent life, a decent wage, then you have no business plan whatsoever, because you're effectively hoping to run money for yourself or your business off the backs of other people's,
labor,
but not just the labor, that effectively they're
slave labor, basically.
Giving them less than they actually need. You're taking something away from them, and so I think that, you know, where these lockdowns have happened, people have gone home and kind of been paid to sit at home in some cases, which is ridiculous.
Still are.
And they've gone, oh, this is nice. I don't want to go to work. But there must be a balance. There must be a balance between, you know, paying people the right wages, giving them the right conditions, but at the same time, you know, having loyalty and responsibility and working to do a job and be happy with what you take home at the end of the day.
Years ago, a place I worked, we went to the meeting, the directors told them there was no money, it was all gone on computers, it gone on this and gone on that, so there was no salary increase. And the next day, the 4 of them took receipt of those nice Jags. You know, I call old man Jags. I don't know what type they are. I don't know cars, but they all drove up in a new Jag the next day. And told us that we couldn't have any money. So
it does. That gives capitalism a bad name, doesn't it? It's greed. That's the problem. All capitalism is not greed. It isn't. Okay, it's just, you know, making money. The problem is we live in a world where infinite growth is required, and it's impossible in a finite system. So so instead of like the stock market working on your value only increases as a company if you have increased value by an increasing percentage from the previous year. Well, that's unsustainable. It just doesn't work. What you've got to be looking at is, I've got a profit this year. I got a profit the year before. That's great. That's all you need to do, is just make a profit. but it's all about greed, isn't it?
There's a great Facebook meme of a guy leaning up against a very expensive car and it says, "If you like my car,
Yeah, seen that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you work really hard, work 60 hours a week, take a few weekends and work those, says maybe then I can buy another one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Frog G in the house. Thank you, Frog G, so much for putting up those links this morning. Out to Only Death Can Save Us, out to Jack Kirby, Personal Journey, and the Long Shots campaign. Do take a few minutes out and take a look at those campaigns, all three of them. Well worth your time. So also the Life on Korra as well. Life on Korra.
Lechies are coming tomorrow.
Yeah. Plus the
Just
attack at the
confirmation.
Mike Jimmy home. Yes.
All of them.
Make sure you have enough food.
No, they don't eat much. You know, they can have the cat. You're no longer a cat. You are a bagel. And if you know where that reference is from, good on you.
Mike Jimmy, introduce yourself to folks.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike Jimmy de Bruin. I am the CEO of Fairies and Ents, and I am the creator for Life on Korra. See, I managed to break it down.
Yes, but now you have to explain what Life on Korra is.
It's a series where we follow a new kind of creature on an alien world every single issue. So you always have a standalone story in every book, and in that way we're expanding the world, making it bigger, making it better, and just having a ton of fun doing it.
Sweet. Frog G says that crazy new math. Yep. Good morning, gentlemen, from Facebook user. Thank you, Facebook user, whoever you are. Ristolian says, I work for unemployment. Trades are the way forward for a lot of people. You just have to work for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big thing here. They're realizing that there's a big gap now in the skilled trades market. And they're now trying to encourage some people to get a more practical living.
Yeah, same
here. Electrician, apprenticeships.
It's just not as glamorous, is it? It's
no.
You know, it's good that people work in those things, and I'm glad I don't. But that's the way I was pushed when I left school. I've said this before, where I wanted to draw comics, and the guy I went to see told me nobody draws comics, and I thought, well, why have I got 600 under my bed, you know? And he said, why don't I've ever thought about being a mechanic? And I said, no. And I'm still not a mechanic. You know, nothing wrong with being a mechanic, but I'm not a mechanic. You know, I always say to people, I can draw the engine for you, but I can't fix it. Because I saw one guy at school. He was the same age as me. He was 15, and we had this. I was working on the printing on a Dana printing press at the time, learning that skill. It's fantastic. You'll know about that, Randy. You as well, Russ, might have touched that. And this guy, I watched him, and he was only my age, only 15, and there was a car engine on a bench, and he took the whole thing to pieces. And I'm doing all these coins and composing sticks and watching this guy, and he took this engine to pieces and laid it all out. And I thought, well, I could do that. I could take it apart, and then he put it back together again before the end of the lesson. And I thought, wow,
that's the hard part.
He's going to be the top mechanic. He's going to be a top mechanic. I mean, I
put it back together. Good Lord.
I mean, like I said, I could draw it for you if you wanted, but don't ask me to put it, because I wouldn't know what. The only thing I know about cars is that they're very expensive, and I know where to put the petrol, and that's about it. I know how to drive it. That's it. I don't know what does what. I don't know what the battery does. I don't know what it does. Carburetor, what's that? I've got no idea. No idea.
When
I can change the tire.
Yeah. When I was coming up in public school, they were the funding for the schools was getting less and less every year because inflation kept growing every year. So the first two classes that went was mechanics class and woodworking.
Wow.
You know, those were the first two classes gone, and then choir, and then art. You know, and music class, choir, music class, and then art was gone.
Well,
so a lot of our schools around here don't have any of those. I walked I was teaching school after school classes to latchkey kids. I teach them cartooning, real basic cartooning stuff. And I walked into one of the schools and I saw they still had an active shop, woodworking shop. I was stunned.
Wow.
I had never seen that in a public school in years.
Well, I was so good at woodwork at school that the first job we ever got was to make a little stool, right? Little stool to sit on. And it was a 6-week job, doing all the, cutting out, I don't know what they call the fit together, all the, whatever it is. They're making
wooden pegs into another wooden peg on top of a big stool. Yeah.
And then you had to sort of hand I don't know what the term is, that sew the top in some kind of stringy thing, little stool, 6 week.
Weave it.
Weave it. Yeah. 6-week job. And that was what didn't take 6 weeks. You only had maybe 3 hours a week on it.
Yeah.
But it was to last 6 weeks. And it took me 4 years. And when I finished it, because I kept getting it wrong, and when I finished it, they gave it me. I didn't have to pay for it. Because you have to pay for it at the end of it. Six shillings or something, whatever it was then. I was doing other things as well in between.
Is that stool you've been working on for 4 years? Just take
just take it home, because I was
take it home.
I was on top of the world because I'd finished this bloody job, and it was like, wow, look at this, and the teacher said, just take it home, just take it.
In my art class in high school, go ahead.
As someone who has his literal diplomas and papers for being a paver and a construction worker, that hurts.
When I was in high school, our art teacher set up an animation table.
Wow.
Had a real small camera that would take one frame at a time, pointed down at a table. And for 6 weeks, he said, you want to play with that? Go ahead, do whatever you want. And this is what you do. So I was pretty autonomous at that point in that class. So he knew I was into art anyway. So I sat there and I played with every type of animation you can imagine. Moved like the original South Park, a lot of construction paper around, and then took a bunch of metal shavings and threw them on the table, and then moved them inch by fraction of an inch by fraction of an inch, so they looked like they skittered around and then jumped or ran off of the table, and did all sorts of different types of animation. When I was done, he showed it, and we had to develop the film, because back then you had to develop the film. This wasn't digital. He developed the film and looked at it, and then he showed it to all of his classes, and he kept it.
That's awesome.
So he could show everybody, and I'm like, okay.
It's funny how politics always comes into things, because when I was at art college, they had a stop motion camera, and I wanted to do that animation, and the guy who ran the photography sessions wouldn't let me use it, and I asked him why, and he wouldn't tell me. He just said, you can't use it, too complicated, blah blah blah. And I found out politics were involved, because he didn't like my head tutor, and we weren't part of his department, but we had to do this lesson, and he wouldn't let. He only did what he had to do, which was let us develop our own film and do the in the dark room and all that kind of thing, because he had to do that. He didn't have to do anything extra.
So because he didn't like somebody else, teacher, the students suffered.
Yes.
Yeah, well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Good morning, Imperial. Hope you're doing well.
I got told at college not to bother with illustration. There was an illustrator that used to come in my first year of graphic design at college, and we did an illustration class. And I remember doing this. I remember doing this Japanese samurai for a museum cover, and it was quite detailed. It was done with rotring pens, and it was like hyper detailed stuff. It was like tiny little. It was a bit. I don't know if anybody of you have got the bestiary, the Tolkien bestiary book, but it was kind of like inspired by some of the illustration in there, which again was like super compact. And I did this, and all the rest of the class were like, "Bloody hell, that's amazing, that's fantastic," because they were all really there for design, and I was there for illustration. And these two girls that I knew, lovely girls, and one of them had drawn a pot. Literally, it was just a vase, Okay, and it wasn't done particularly well. And she was like, my vases are not that great because I'm here for design. And he gave her the top mark, and he marked me down and said, like, you probably shouldn't bother. And he was so totally after these girls. And it was just at that point, I just thought, well, wow, what's the point? And then when I did get to work, I was working. I used to do layout design and then art direction for Argos. You know Argos, Glenn, don't you?
Yeah.
For Argos, Dixon's, Curry's, those kind of retail outlets. So it was retail brochures, sale brochures, and the big whatever it's called, the big book with all the stuff in it used to go into the Argos shop and write down the name. People used to flick through it at Christmas.
I put together an Argos brochure back in the 80s. So
did you? Right.
Yeah,
okay. Well, back in it, because they started off as Green Shield stamps. Right. So anyway, I ended up getting a layout and an art direction job there. And I was working with one guy. There was another senior layout artist, and his cousin was either. Sorry for this because I know Brett is demised now. Was Brett Ewins or Steve Dillon, because both of them were on Deadline, the Deadline magazine, and I'd actually submitted some stuff to Deadline, and they were nice to me, but they never got any work. But that was way back in the 80s. And then in the 90s, I was doing the art direction stuff. And this guy I used to work with was one of these guys was his cousin. I can't remember which one. And he said apparently he'd spoken to them about getting into comics. And whoever it was, were the one that was his cousin, said, if you don't get into comics before the age of 26, don't bother. So that was like, okay. So I had been told several times, don't bother. Just do not bother. But here I am, at the age of 50,
26
something, maybe double 26, I would say, and a bit. I'm now drawing, like mainstream comics as well as my own comics. So it just goes to show, don't listen to the naysayers. Just get out there and do your own thing.
Yeah. So. Amen.
My art teacher at school when I was 12, we had the test, and there was I mean, it's funny now. It wasn't funny then, but of all the people in the class, I was the one who was good at art. Okay, and some other people were okay at art, but I was the best one, and that's not just me saying that. But because this woman didn't like me for some reason, and I got 49. She marked me at 49 out of 50 for my exam. And this girl who was quite good at art as well, she got 49 out of 50. But she came first because her name was Andrew. She was called Janet Andrew, and her name was Andrew, which is A, and mine's F. And I said at the time, I said to her, why does that make me second? Because we both got the same points, And she said, well, it has to go to alphabetical order. And I didn't say anything because we didn't in those days, but I knew that if my name would have begun with A, I would have been second because I was a male. She was the girl and would have to be first.
She was smashing the patriarchy, mate. That's what she was doing.
Yeah, and I could tell you some stories about that, but I won't go into them here.
I think I was probably a right little SH1T because I got marked down by this woman teacher who didn't like me much. I don't think it had anything to do with the fact she was a woman or not. It was just a descriptor. It was just a descriptor. Cancelled for calling my female art teacher a woman. But there you go. Anyway, she used to do pottery, and I wasn't very good with pottery, so I didn't get on that well with her. But the guy that was in charge of the art department loved me a bit. I was a bit of I was a student. He loved what I did. So I did this picture, and I'm a bit on the colorblind side. But that shouldn't make any difference, especially in comics. It shouldn't make any difference. But anyway, I did this picture, and it had this, and this was nothing to do with my colorblindness. I did this on purpose. okay, because I wanted a bizarre looking picture. And I did Stonehenge, and it had these 8 men in there, or these Stone Age men in there, and there was this Steranko inspired spaceship above it, putting down a beam, okay, and I think the sky, either the sky was purple or the sky was green, and the spaceship was purple, and the spaceship was green, or whatever. I know it must have been the sky. And she went, "You can't have purple sky." And she marked me down. I went straight into the other guy like an absolute a-hole and said, "She's marked me down for the colour of my sky. That's not fair." And he marked me up. And she hated me even more. It's like, that wasn't a good look, really.
You know, back in the mid-70s when Frank Bellamy died, he was drawing Garth at the time, so I thought, here's an opportunity. So I sent some samples off to the Daily Mirror Garth, because I knew they were looking. Well, I figured they would be looking for a new artist. And then this new artist came out, and he was there, and I sent these samples in, and I was getting a couple of phone calls. They rang me up and all this kind of thing. Wanted some more samples, so I sent them in. Thought they've got to be in for a chance here. And then I was told. Then I got through to this guy, and he said, "Oh no, we've got this other guy now, so don't bother." So I didn't bother. And then later I found out that the guy I was talking to was the guy who was now drawing it. So he's not going to give me the job, is it? Because he'd have been out of work.
Oh, no.
He was art director, and I thought, oh, shit, Wow. So that's the way the cookie crumbles. and then of course it only lasted another 5 years and disappeared. So and it's such a fantastic character, Garth. You've seen those Frank Bellamy issues; they're just wonderful. Not that I was good as him. He's the best.
No, he's the best. Yeah.
Oh, one of the best.
I thought this was going to be very particular. I thought this was going to be a unsolicited submissions story, because I sent an unsolicited submission to Archie Comics once, and got the what my lawyer called was the most succinct "fuck you" letter back from them ever.
Did you save it?
The lawyer has it on file. Yes, because he said whenever I need to talk directly to somebody, I pull up your letter and use it for inspiration. Oh, there you go. Because I sent them a proposal for the Mighty Crusaders that I thought was really ingenious, and it looked really pretty. I mean, it was a great piece of work. They wrote me back and said, "Don't show this to anybody. Don't send it to anybody. We didn't ask for this. We didn't." And I sent it to both of the owners at the time. There were 2 owners for Archie. I sent a package to each one, and I said, "I could do this. This is a great bridge between Archie comics and superhero books," because it was a group of young kids that grab all of these old Red Circle and Archie comics and turn themselves into these superheroes. They get the magical means to do it, kind of like a cross between Captain Marvel and
Forever People,
the Mighty Crusaders line, literally. And they did not like that at all. Wow. They basically said "F you."
That's a bit harsh, though, isn't it?
Oh, it was a very harsh. It was a very harshly written letter that threatened me with legal action if they see it anywhere else. Because it was a great idea too. Because I took a character from each of their different generations of using these characters in the past, because the Archie characters, the Mighty Crusader line has popped up so many ways, so many different times, that it was fun to do. But I wish they'd have liked it, because I would have loved doing it for them. But
I've still got a great rejection letter from John Romita when he was art director at Marvel Comics.
Sweet.
So he was just telling me to get lost, but it's a nice letter. You know what I mean? Keep practicing and learn anatomy and all this kind of thing. But really, it was just saying, "Don't bother me again. I'm busy." But it's from him. It's from him, and I guess he didn't type it, but he did sign it. So
at least it was nice and cordial. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a nice. He let me down gently. It was good.
Cool.
He's probably quite right as well, because he's not a bad artist, is he, John Romita? Seeing he's pretty good. So
pretty good. Yeah.
the start of the pandemic, I was part of the organization for Stay Home Comic Con in the Netherlands, an online convention. We only did two times, and then we were like, oh my God, this is so much work. I'm never going to do this again. But you could send in your portfolio. And I sent in a couple of pages for La Cora and a couple of concepts, from before I even started comics. God, I don't even remember his name, but he was some big art director, and he literally came back to me with like, "I like what you do, but dear Lord, never go back into comics." And I was like, "Mate, really?" That's what it came down to.
It's unbelievable.
Like, are you kidding me?
There's a guy at college came in from advertising, because I was going into graphics, after college, and he came in and he ran this big agency, and he came in and I'd done this particular piece of artwork, which I've still got, obviously, and he really, really liked it, and he said to me, "Can I take this?" And I said, "Well, no." And he said, "Well, just to get some copies." And listen, this is what he said. He said, "Can I take this?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Just to get some copies. And when you come for your interview, I'll give it you back." Well, I hadn't arranged an interview. I thought, wow, this is great. How good is this? So I was going to let him take it. It was a big piece of artwork. And but then he did the lesson, and then he left. And then the boss at the head tutor came in, and he said, "Did he just ask you if you could take that artwork?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Did he just say that there's potentially a job there?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, let me tell you, don't let him take the artwork, and there is no job."
Wow.
And he said, "You would never have seen that piece of artwork again." And there wouldn't have even been an interview.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
well, it's nice that we had this chance to have some groups therapy.
Yes.
Be able to compare everyone's rejections. Yeah.
I feel rejected.
Oh yeah.
On the upside is that I did manage to get to draw Spider-Man on a game. So that was an ambition. That was an ambition. So that was a real shot.
I did some Spider-Man work. Unfortunately, it never got used. I did some Spider-Man work for a company 2 or 3 years. It was 3 years ago now, where they were trying to do like digital print books where you could put yourself into the book. And they were pitching to Marvel, so I had to do a Spider-Man story for them. They paid me, that was great, but unfortunately it never went anywhere further. I have a feeling that they got to the point where it came down to money, and you just know that Disney would have whacked them with a massive bill to say, well, you can do this if you want, but it's going to cost you X to license Spider-Man. Yes. At which point they probably realized, this isn't worth it.
That's when they do the spit take at the letter. Are you kidding? Holy crap.
I'm not paying that. I'm never going to make that money back. Yep. Yeah.
My Spider-Man original story, I used to go for Bernie Wrightson for a few years over at San Diego Con. And I got to see him do a series of drawings, pencil drawings, that he got paid unbelievable money from Sony, of what a human would look like, an actual human in a Spider-Man outfit. This was before. No, they paid him to do a series of drawings like that in order for them to grasp in their mind what somebody would look like in an actual Spider-Man outfit.
Right.
This was years before Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And he said that he learned from that, the big thing he learned from that experience is to never, ever send originals into a studio, because there was a series of them he had done before that he had never gotten back. Yeah. So from that point on, he was always making copies and shipping those in and keeping the originals for himself.
Yeah. But, I did that with some storyboards about 20 years ago that I did for a guy, and they were going to make some sort of commercial or something. I can't remember now, but the guy needed to be like a sort of a Sam Spade type of thing, like a, have you got a light, Mark? That kind of stuff, the pulp kind of thing.
Hard-boiled detectives. What we
yeah,
call
that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
That's the one. And I did all these storyboards, and I sent the original. It was a really not a rush job, but it was a tight deadline, so I didn't have time to make copies. But no problem. This guy was okay. Took the originals in, and then the guy I gave it to. He was the in-between man, so I don't know who they were for exactly. They've never found out. I don't think they were used, but never found out. But I never got the drawings back, and I didn't get paid.
Oh no!
Because the guy who took them, the guy who gave me the job, took my originals, gave them to the guy, and the guy disappeared and never paid him. So he didn't pay me, and I didn't get my drawings back. And there's a good week's work there, good week's work in that, and it's just all for nothing, you know. And I didn't even get any lousy drawings back, you know. So. Anyway,
we're just barely past the top of the hour. I've got to pay a few bills, folks. You're listening to the Sunday Funnies for the 10th of April, 2022. We'll be right back here in just about a minute and a half or so. Just got a couple things to run. Hang on.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Plus.
And I want to remind everybody of the Long Shots campaign. We've extended that for another 30 days over on Indiegogo. 7 publishers, 9 great books, 1 big deal. So you can pick up 9 comics for the low price of $25 plus shipping. That's the Long Shots over on Indiegogo. Also, the Fellowship of the Indies is over on Kickstarter. The same 9 books are offered also for $25 with a few extra add-ons. If you like, over on the Long Shots campaign, they're offering metal bookmarks, sketch cards, and art prints. Over on the Fellowship of the Indies, they're offering a PDF file of month 2 books. So you can see where this deal was going to go in the in the next month's worth of books. So, including 2 number 1s written by yours truly, that I'm especially proud of. So, that's over at the Fellowship of the Indies right now on Kickstarter. But there's also the Long Shots over on Indiegogo as well. So, if you have a platform of preference, pick one or the other, go over and look at those campaigns and buy in. We also want to remind folks that Ragin 2 has got a coupon code with the Gemini mailers. So go over to GeminiComicSupply.com right now and order some Gemini mailers. And on your way out the door, use the coupon code RAGIN2, RAGIN, and the number 2, and receive 5% off of your next Gemini mailer order. So please do that.
I just sent you a message, Randy, with the photograph of that Spider-Man game, if you want to show it.
There we go. Yeah, let me see if I can blow that up. I can. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. It's Pop-O-Matic.
Yeah, I've got 2 of those in the loft.
I think I've seen that work before over here. So that's cool. Let me find it here. Right there.
Let me just say that I didn't do the background, the perspectives wrong. But my boss did the background because he wanted a piece of it, and he's done it all wrong. I did the Spider-Man drawing.
All right, let me share that. Boom, right there. Pop-O-Matic.
Oh, look at that. That's a great one, that is.
Look at that. Look at those graphics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can see those buildings look almost freehand in the background.
Yeah. Because he said to me, why have you not put the buildings on the background? I said, because you didn't tell me to, and it looks better without it. So he said, well, I'll do it. So I said, okay. And that's what he came up with in about 4 minutes.
Just buildings. Here we go.
Yeah, this'll do, you know.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to do it, do it properly. What's wrong with people?
Yeah, exactly.
A 2-point perspective is not that hard.
No.
Terrible. But that's an ambition, though. Ticked off there, Spider-Man. So that was good. And I got paid for it as well.
Nice.
Even better. It's like a right there. Yep. I was perusing through Facebook a day or so ago and ran across the official Walt Simonson page. And Walt's been posting a piece of artwork every day from some dare that Joe Jusko apparently gave him. And he put up this piece that I thought was really fascinating. Let me get rid of that. Oh, you just put a Spider-Man up too. Sorry.
So
There we are. Look at that.
Wow.
Russ. That's nice.
Fantastic.
Oh,
It was like
yeah.
a Todd McFarlane type Spider-Man.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
sort of that way. Yeah, that was the brief. Get it, sort of
Look at
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
springy,
Wow.
Springy. Yep.
springy.
Lovely.
Yeah,
What
I,
else is in
I
there that I
actually
can
know a lot.
Oh, I can show that. There you go. There you go. Show
Oh yeah,
Oh, there we
That's-
are. Look
that's
at
the one.
that. That's sweet.
that's great.
But unfortunately, it never went anywhere.
Hmm.
But like you say, I got paid for it. So
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
yeah,
Sadly.
yeah,
When
Yeah.
it comes to commercial work like that, that is what it's all about.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just got done refurbishing an old piece of art for a 2-page spread for a real estate company up here in a local magazine. That was an interesting challenge. Hey, can you switch this all around? Because it's originally it was in a 2-page spread right in the center of a saddle stitch book, and it was going to be a 2-page spread in who knows where in a bound magazine. So I'm like, yeah,
Huh.
great. Okay, so there's this dead space in the middle that the paper is going to be curved into
Mm.
that I had to move crap around. Yeah,
Can you make this a 3-page flyer, please?
pretty much. Pretty much.
Are you showing us those Walt Simonson stuff?
Yes,
Yeah,
I ran
yeah.
across this, which
Whoa.
I thought was really fascinating. That the idea of the exercise, I guess, is to post artwork with no explanation. But this is kind of self-explanatory, especially if you are at all a fan of Simonson's early work, because it's a cover for Detective Comics for the last episode of Manhunter
Good.
that apparently
God, look at
never saw
Oh,
print.
wow.
Never used that.
No, they didn't use that. They
Wow.
used an entirely different cover, but I thought, and I posted on the board, I think they didn't use it because Batman is going right over that Detective Comics logo.
Mm.
Yeah, but anybody, well, you can see it. Anybody who bought the magazine would see it. I don't know what the problem is with
That's
that.
Yeah,
that's great movement on the Batman there.
it's just great
Yeah.
movement in general. Simonson is so great with the Manhunter
Those shin
character. I
guards
just
are
love it.
fantastic, though, aren't they?
Yeah, aren't they?
You,
Those
you couldn't
shin
run
cages?
in them.
Yeah.
But they're
Cool.
wonderful.
So much extra
the time.
drag.
Yeah, at the time it didn't matter because it looked cool,
Yeah.
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 practical.
great.
Who
So
worries about
when's
practical?
that from, Randy?
This is
70s.
back when they did the 70s, back when they did the 100-page super spectaculars, and Detective
Wow.
Comics was one of those 100-pagers. Manhunter used to be a backup in the regular floppy book, and then they went 100-pagers, and they kept it going for a little while, for as long as Archie Goodwin, I believe, was the editor, and Archie wrote the Manhunter series with Simonson.
Yeah.
So Archie was leaving as editor, so they took an entire front story of Detective Comics and ended the story of Manhunter and crossed Batman into it.
I've got that IDW Artisan book of
You
Thor
lucky dog.
with Simonson on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's really smart. Something else I've got from, which obviously wasn't the originals, they were reprints in the UK, is RoboCop versus Terminator. I think that was Simonson. That was really cool.
I think Dark Horse printed that over here.
Yeah, that was really cool, and the artwork in that is fabulous.
All his early stuff, his stuff is still good now. Don't get me wrong, but his early stuff was so fascinating to look at and read, especially the Manhunter stories, because they were like the old Spirit sections, where they just crammed this great story right into 7 pages. That was it. Sometimes he had 16 panels on a page. Sometimes.
That
Did
Thor
you see his work
Ragnarok
on
thing
Alien?
he's just done was really good.
The what?
Did you see
The
his
Thor
work on Alien?
Ragnarok,
Oh
Sorry.
yeah.
Yes.
the Alien story.
Yeah. He
Oh,
did
the
Alien.
Aliens adaptation. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have that too.
Ah.
Yeah.
And then
It was
Cool.
fantastic. And Star
And-
Slammers, when that kicked out as a Marvel graphic novel, I bought multiple copies of that just to read through it. That was a great story.
Yeah, that's good.
I can probably show you what the cover looked like on that. Let me pull that up here in images. Let me Bing it. They ended up with a different, totally different cover for it that I believe Jim Aparo drew. Right there. Yeah, definitely Jim Aparo. Let me pull up what that looks like.
You see a lot of Gil
Detective
Kane in
Comics.
that cover you just showed as well, can't you?
Oh, yeah. There's the actual cover that they used for the book.
Oh,
Oh yeah, well,
yeah, that's exciting.
I can see why. Yeah.
Well, now Batman's right in front. Manhunter's kind of tucked behind it, and
Yeah. Oh, well.
lots of guns.
Yeah. That's a real Kirby
Of course.
design, that, isn't it, with all the guns pointed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's Jim Aparo doing the artwork on that.
If you look at the logo, the Detective Comics logo, it couldn't be any bigger, could it?
No, it's really big there on that cover.
And so they cover it up with "Now Fire." You know.
Well, plus they had that big banner across the top, 100 pages for only
Yeah.
60 cents. Hey, kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy this book. Yeah. But back when I was a kid, way back when I was a kid, yeah, those 100 pages were phenomenal. I used
can
to love
imagine.
those. So it had all these great reprints in it of most of them of characters that I had no idea who they were or what they were about or anything like it. It was just fun to read. Just great stuff.
Yeah.
But my big comic reading was back during those big reprint days anyway, when you had Marvel Triple Action and Marvel Tales reprinting all sorts of stuff. So, and the continuity never bothered me. I knew it was different I knew Marvel Tales was way back in Spider-Man from where Spider-Man was now. I mean, Andrew was drawing Spider-Man when I was a kid. And here's all these great Remita reprints coming out. Just phenomenal stuff. Just great material back then. And it's much to these companies' shame that they don't keep this stuff in print.
Yeah, they did that with is it Collector's Items Classics as well, the Marvel one they had in the mid-60s, where they were reprinting the early stuff, Captain America, and then they started printing Kirby's Cap obviously Kirby's Cap from the 40s, didn't they?
Yeah.
In those, and then they were printing DC started printing all Kirby stuff, didn't they? In the 70s when he was there.
They were reprinting everything there for a while. Just all sorts of. There's a Marvel collector's item classics right there.
That's it. Yeah.
They didn't even put a lot of thought into the cover.
Oh, nice.
Hey, 5 classic stories. Here's the covers.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Just paste it together and send it out. Yeah. 25 cents though. That was a bargain.
Yeah.
50. I think that was 64
the
pages. 64 or 72. In fact, they even did a magazine for a while. Marvel did.
Oh.
That was 100 pages.
Wow,
Just
I've never seen that.
Prime stuff that was out in that's $2.95. And in this, you got the best of the best on these reprints. You got a Frank Miller Daredevil. You got a John Byrne Fantastic Four story.
Wow.
You got I think it's David McElhenney and Bob Layton Iron Man.
Ooh.
It's just right during the prime period for all of these to be reprinted. Let's see if there's a contents page. Of course not. McElhenney. Leighton, Iron Man. I don't know if you can see
Mhm.
that. I'd almost have to blow that up.
Let me pull you up. Yeah,
But
let me
it's
pull you up.
right during the
Yeah.
prime period. And then I believe John Byrne Hulk at the end.
Yeah.
Nice.
100 pages of stuff for $3, you know?
God,
That was back in the day.
Wow.
a steal.
They kicked out
Mhm.
6 of those, as far as I know. They did the
6.
same thing with Spider-Man for a short period of time.
Huh.
Speaking of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
get your historian head on, Randy. Do you remember that it came out in 1968? That Spider-Man black and white thing that was done in a wash.
Yeah.
I've got number 1 of that. Was there only 2?
Yes. There were only 2.
When they were trying to get the magazine audience, weren't they, type of thing?
They were playing with it. Yeah, that was what, early 60s, mid 60s?
68. 68.
Okay, late
So-
60s.
So did it not sell? Is that why they stopped doing it?
I think they had a problem distributing it.
Right.
Yeah, so it probably didn't sell well. And at the time, they were wanting to compete against Warren magazines because Eerie and Creepy and were running real strong at that point. So I think Vampirella was just starting up.
Right.
So they kicked a couple of plus it gave them an opportunity to get away from the code,
Yeah.
which is why they did they tried it out for 2 issues. But back in 68, there was a lot of experimentation going on. That's when Gil Kane was doing Black Mark, and they were playing around with paperback book size reprints. And
But
all sorts of great stuff.
wasn't Marvel released from their contract where they could only put 8 titles out, which was why we saw Silver Surfer and all these Nick Fury things
I think-
around that time.
I think it was shortly after that they were starting to crawl out from under there, but they had a whole boom of black and white magazines in the 70s, early 70s.
Yeah.
71 through probably 78, 79.
So were they trying to exploit the black and white market, or was it just too expensive to print those in color?
Oh no, they were exploiting the black and white market
Right.
because they were watching Eerie and Creepy sell like hotcakes, and
Yeah.
there was another cheaper competitor that had sprung up, and I can't recall his name, but he was the guy who did the he started out doing comics that were name ripoffs from characters he thought were in public domain. And he did that Captain Marvel character where he character split
I know who you
into
mean, yeah.
different different parts of his body would break off when he yelled the word split. And he called that Captain Marvel, and Marvel actually saw that and realized that there was a problem, because here he is printing a doofusy looking character called Captain Marvel. So they paid him to go away.
Right.
They threatened to sue him, and then they settled out of court and just kind of paid him. And then the Rick Jones Marvel Captain Marvel came out.
Right.
Then DC was playing with talking to Fawcett about leasing Captain Marvel anyway, because the character was so popular. And they ended up leasing the character from Fawcett Comics after they settled out of court back in 53 or 54 for Fawcett to just stop printing Captain Marvel.
Wow.
But the guy that they paid off from that Marvel paid off from doing the split apart Captain Marvel, he went on to start a black and white company that was doing what I would call C-class work, production work, Voodoo Tales, Witches Tales. He was kind of to the Warren magazines what Sick was to Mad magazine, and it was just like a sub-level substitute that was filling the newsstands at the
So
time.
he was just making a quick buck then.
Yeah. But he had hired he hired some guys that went on to have long comic careers, just not a lot of top quality work in those publications.
Right.
A lot of people broke their teeth coming in on that. Mike Friedrich, I think Val Mayrick, those group of creators
Right.
came in through those magazines. Well, Marvel saw what was happening there, so they decided to start doing their black and white line as well. Plus, it gave them a chance to do more adult comics away from the code.
Wow.
Some really classic material back then.
Yeah.
and that Marvel, those Marvel runs. They did some great stuff, some really good Neil Adams covers, and just phenomenal stuff. Dracula Lives. What was the monster title? I want to say Where Monsters Dwell, but that's probably not right. I know Dracula Lives came out of that run. There was a couple of really good supernatural titles, some kung fu titles came out of that. Master of Kung Fu had a black and white book for a while. Had what's his name? White Tiger, I think it was in it. Claws of the Tiger. That's what it was called. A group of people that had magic amulets that turned them into martial art experts.
Oh, I like that book. That's a great book. My dad bought me that book.
We all have our guilty pleasures.
My dad bought me that book, and it was kind of like, it was a bit like Double Dragon in places.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah. He bought me I don't have the comic now. I remember sitting outside a barber shop in the car with a Coke and a packet of crisps.
That's like
sitting reading this book. It was fabulous.
It's like the third show where people are associating comics with barbershops. That's great. Because I remember sitting in the barbershop. That's how I learned all of the Charlton characters. Captain Atom, Blue Beetle, Peacemaker, all of that was from sitting in the barbershop just waiting to get your hair cut. And there's a comic.
No, in this country, it was more likely you were sitting in the back of a parked car outside a pub with a packet of crisps and a Coca-Cola. That's what people did with their kids in the 70s.
Yeah.
They just stuck them in parked cars.
Had a quick pint. Yeah.
My only memory of the barbers when I was a kid was coming out looking like I was in the First World War. I couldn't have that haircut now because it's the wrong way around my hair. But,
I couldn't have that haircut now because I don't have any hair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so it was just all short back and sides. It was called. You went
short
in
back and sides,
and you had a short back and sides, and it was all the right up to the top. My dad used to tell me when he was in the army, you could keep what you could keep under your hat, what you could fit under your hat.
There you go.
Hey,
back in my day,
that's
that
right,
back line had to be above the collar. Yeah.
So there you go.
In Dutch, we call that a flower pot haircut because you put on a flower pot on your head and you shave everything around it.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the pudding bowl.
Pudding bowl, yeah.
You
end up with like a beetle cut, don't you? With the fringe just going all the way around.
Just all the way, just like that.
Like Mo from the Three Stooges.
Yeah. I believe it was very popular in Manchester in the 1990s.
I don't know.
Yeah, back when Britpop was all the thing.
Right.
I remember seeing a Ma and Pa Kettle movie when I was a kid. You remember that old country couple, and with a lot of kids. Ma had a lot of kids. She had them all lined up one day out of the month. Have them sit in the chair, put the bowl on their head. Done. Move along. Next kid comes up, bowl. Done. Gone. That's hilarious.
I hate it when you get people with all their hair and they still shave it off.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be allowed.
You've traumatized.
Have to grow it.
If you've got it, be like Jimmy.
Don't remind me.
Like make it really long.
Make an issue of it. Here we go.
There we go.
Look at that. Look.
Yeah. When I was retailing, met my wife.
Silver
I had a
cream.
Ponytail right down to the back, the middle of my back.
Wow.
I don't have that anymore, but I did back then.
I was thinking of having a really long beard and like braiding it and having a ponytail so that I could go to my karate class like a master.
There you go.
But you thought better of it.
What drives me,
on top, just a little bit.
What drives me crazy now are neck beards. People that shave all the way down and leave their chin open and back up.
Maybe they're just cold.
Not even as bad as an Abraham Lincoln beard, but it goes back even farther. And it's like just a little band of hair that goes around the bottom of the chin. Looks like a chin strap.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I'm seeing those more and more.
Russ, what you should do.
You really want to look like a doofus, don't you, buddy? Go. Look stupid. That's fine.
Doofus.
More for you.
Russ, what you should do if you want to be a karate master is like have your mustache go all the way down for like
Oh,
a
yeah.
yard,
Yeah, it's like
and then a little slit in the center going down just as far.
We would
Yeah.
refer to that
Would
here
that
as
be-
a Fu Manchu.
That would be cultural appropriation.
Yes,
I
exactly.
don't think it would be.
And that
I don't
would
think
be,
it would
yes.
be a good thing. Yes.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Sorry.
You'd be cancelled again, Russ. if you did
There are
that.
people out there that say just because I do martial arts, it's cultural appropriation. But that shows
Oh,
deep
my.
misunderstanding from where martial arts come from. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's tell them it's a form of exercise and leave you alone.
Yeah.
No,
Right? It's called an exercise regimen. Go away.
No, that's too close to saying it's sport. That gets me upset.
Yeah. Just
It's martial art,
never-
not sport. Get lost.
I can never work out how motor racing is sport.
No,
Poker.
What do you do? You
Poker's a
sit in the
sport.
car.
Poker.
And
So me sitting in my car, driving
Yeah.
to I don't know
yeah,
Greg's to get a pie, is sport.
yeah, it's the same with archery and curling in the Olympics.
Well, archery and curling, I could see that as a sport because it does take some technique. It takes
There is,
an
and there's some
eye and an
physicality.
aim, and yeah, there is
There
some
is some
physicality to it.
In all fairness, motor racing, those guys they have to be quite fit, don't they? Because it
just-
puts quite a lot of
do, yeah.
stress on their bodies as
Yeah,
they go
yeah.
around in the Formula One cars.
Yeah, but it's
That's-
not
yeah.
sport.
Especially
you get-
with their left hand.
Yeah, if you get in,
Just
Yeah.
keep going round in the same place.
if you get in front and you Lewis Hamilton, you've won, haven't you? If you get in,
Yeah, well,
you start first on the grid, you get to the front, and then that's it for 3 days while they drive around in circles.
You know
Yeah.
where all of that started from, right? I'm sure you've seen those documentaries before. That all started back during Prohibition with the rum runners, the people that would evade the cops. The drivers got to be quite skilled on running through those back roads. So
Right.
eventually they just started racing each other instead of racing away from the cops, and that turned into NASCAR.
So they're all being pursued by the Keystone Cops at 4 miles an hour.
Oh no, it was serious. It was serious business back when alcohol was illegal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They'd make moonshine back in the hills and then run them out to their supplier and hope that they didn't get caught by the cops.
There's that great quote, isn't there, by Al Capone when he says, when he serves drinks, he's a criminal, but when the president serves drinks, it's hospitality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way it was back then.
And was it? I don't know whether it's true or not. I'm sure I read somewhere that the only person with a bigger liquor stash than J. Edgar Hoover in those days was Elliot Ness.
I'm not sure about that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I think when you walk into somebody else's house and take their petrol, that's theft. But when you wander into another person's country and take it, that's democracy. Sorry.
Oh my god.
I just figure it's politics in general.
Yeah.
Are you going to be running for office, Russ?
Reach. Just call me Reach.
Reach.
Just call me
That's
Reach.
your new
for
name
sure.
now, Reach.
Reach. No, I'm not running for. Absolute.
Oh my god.
Absolute power becomes absolutely corrupt. There you go.
Yeah.
So they're all the same.
The wife tells me I can't run for office. Nobody would vote for me because I'm too honest.
Yeah. That's the
I'd
problem.
speak
Yeah.
my mind about politics too much, and I'd lose all my voters.
You lot, you're all scumbags and you're liars. Oh well, that's it. It's all over.
Who knows though? Might be a new. I mean, that's how Trump got in. I'm here. I'm
you
here
never
just
know,
to
yeah.
screw with everything. Vote for me.
I'll paint myself orange. Perhaps I'll get in.
You never know. Just reminded everybody of Cheetos. That's how he got in.
Cheetos. Mm.
Does he own that?
Cheetos.
Vote. Yeah. That's our political moment here on Sunday Funnies.
Cheetos.
Reach, stretch, the honest politician. Yes, Joe, you're absolutely right. That would be a hilarious politician name.
reach stretch thing.
Reach stretch.
Quite a reach.
Stretch, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally a stretch.
Comic book orange belt. Thank you very much.
I just come out and say I'm in it for the money. I'll take whatever. Bribe me away. Go ahead.
Bribe. Just give me the money.
Mhm.
Show me the money.
Oh my god.
Most of our
No,
politicians
neither of
go
us should
in
go and run for president.
with 6 figures and come out with 9 or 10 anyway. So
Yeah.
that's the way it
Yeah.
works.
How's that work?
It's politics. When you can make your own laws, hey, guess what? They can't be
Yeah.
they can't get into legal trouble for insider trading. So
I found one
Wow.
politician that I like. Tulsi
Abraham.
Gabbard. She's rather nice.
60 Denver?
yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard is a looker. Because she stands out because, like, literally, like, politics is celebrity for ugly people, isn't it? She's lovely.
Yeah. Look, if
I
you're
was
good
gonna
at
make an
acting,
Nancy
but you look
Pelosi joke,
horrible,
but I've
you go into
resisted.
politics. Oh my god. No, neither of us should. None of us should go into politics for the simple reason we wouldn't be able to draw anymore. We would go
True.
absolutely insane, and the world would end.
It's probably going to do that soon anyway.
We would start war in frustration.
What was it Bob Geldof said? Anybody who wants to go into politics should be immediately banned.
And yeah, well, they should, yeah, along
they
with
should.
anybody who wants to be cool.
That's like the famous L. Ron Hubbard quote: "If you want to be rich, start a religion."
Yeah. Well,
Or a political party. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, around
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
you can't. You just have to join one of the two,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And there's like 3 other ones that are incredibly minor, much to our detriment. In my
But
opinion.
they get
Gee,
paid.
I agree. 99% of politicians give the rest of them a bad name. Yeah, and the other 1% is so rich they don't care.
Yeah. Oh, since we've got political, our chat has picked up. Look at this.
Yeah, no, isn't it weird?
It was because I mentioned Tulsi.
My parents
look
gave me
up.
that cut back in the day. Nowadays, I clip my own hair to save money. There we are, wise guys. Thank you. Thanks for listening. The Guy Gardner haircut. Yes, see, Manny. Hail, William. Hail. Hail all. Morning all. I'm late, but here. Joe, you're always welcome whenever you get here. All this talk about beards makes me sad I can't grow one. Sorry, Bristolian.
Where's Brian, by the way? I
You're
thought he was
welcome.
Some of
coming
us,
on this
some
week.
of us can only grow hair in certain places. So, Frog G, thanks again. William Pace, Russ Leach wants to call all his students grasshoppers.
Hmm.
Frog G says I'm good, but running out of energy. Almost time to hop off to bed. All right, Frog. Ribbit. Some
Where's-
states making it
Ribbit.
making it to the corner store is a sport. Yeah, some areas. Winston Churchill once visited during Prohibition and had like a medical stash at all times.
Yeah, but he did.
Absolutely.
Where's Brian? I thought Brian K. Morris was going to be on this week.
He was on last week. Where were you?
Oh, was he?
You were here.
Oh,
Weren't you here?
I know. I don't know. I can't remember. I thought he was coming on
Sorry,
this
you
week
missed.
as well.
Well, all of your weeks have been blending together then.
They have. It's just one big blur.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
I was mad at myself yesterday for
I
not
would have
being
loved
able to
to
move
see
much.
that.
And then I remembered, well, heck, 4 weeks
Hmm.
ago, I was still walking around with a 4-wheel stroller. So I guess I shouldn't be.
So
bitching.
what are you doing now? Have you just got a stick now, or are you off?
No,
it,
I'm
or-
walking around the house without a cane. I'm going to take a cane out
Excellent.
with me in public, though, just to protect myself.
Yeah, just to hit
Bastard.
people with. Yeah,
Yeah, just to hit people with. I'm a crotchety old man now. Get off of my lawn.
yeah. When you get into queues, it's like get out of the way. Let them all get
Yeah.
there. Ah.
I'll bang on cars that get too close while I'm walking. Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm frightened. I want my slippers.
Empyrean Vole likes Tulsi. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I know,
sidewalk.
Empyrean. I like Tulsi
Reach,
too.
stretch the honest politician. Yeah. 99% of politicians give the rest of them a bad name. Yep. Brian K. Morris.
And the other 1% are just
is a Comic-Con. Yeah.
it's the
Right.
Comic-Con.
Is that a Comic-Con? I'm
don't
sure
think-
it's just
I
like
don't- I'm not-
just like that Scott Rosema doing the 3-day Grand Rapids show.
I'm not sure.
Instead of
I'll ever
being
make
on
it
our
back to
show.
another one.
Or
To be
being late
honest.
for our show. Anyway. Randy should get a sword cane. That's actually illegal in this state. I looked it up.
Really?
But
You never know. I
You
might
can
know.
carry a
Well,
gun.
anyway.
Can you carry?
So you
Can
can
you
get a
carry a
machine
gun?
gun. You get a machine gun, but you can't have a knife and a.
Well, you
or
get a
cane.
machine gun with a permit, but sword cane's concealed weapon. You'd have to have a concealed carry. permit.
Right.
Okay.
I could do it though. I
does
understand
that
that
mean
I could probably
does
pick
that
one up
mean
at
you can-
the next Renaissance fair. So I might actually look into it anyway.
Yeah.
Who
Do
knows?
it.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, does that mean that you can actually walk around with a sword just, hanging from your belt, no problem, but you can't have one in a cane that is actually, in a scabbard?
I am pretty sure
Wow.
that's right. Yes. Because I'm pretty sure we
Wow.
also have a it's not an open carry up here for firearms. So you still have to have a permit because the permit shows you actually took a class that showed you how to use the tool properly.
Well, that's fair enough.
But there's no
Savvy,
sword
spicy,
sword
spicy. I mean-
classes out there.
Yeah.
I was found it
Yeah.
amusing that the Russ and I can't have a firearm because of the law, but the people who want them don't care about the law. So
That's the way that works. Yes.
yeah, so we wouldn't want
Yeah.
one anyway, but
Yeah.
the guy who does is going to get one, isn't he?
Yeah. If they want one. Yep.
Yeah.
New York is a anti-gun state, and they have shootings all the time.
Yeah.
But the
It's
police are armed.
constant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wife tells me I can't have a sword cane because I'd be too tempted to use it. That would be a problem. Hey,
It's a fair point. There are a few people,
it is a good point.
we're not discriminating. We hate everyone equally.
But if you got yourself a cane, you could just sharpen the point with a knife.
Yeah,
you could just whittle
Eric
it.
Hawkins has a point. This has a good point. A sword cane's only illegal if you reveal the sword. Yeah,
Oh,
That is true.
Meta.
yeah.
Nobody sees it. Does it exist?
Empyrean thinks I should get a sword cane. Yeah, yeah.
It's Schrodinger's sword.
But yeah, I take a cane for longer walks. I haven't used the walker in a couple of weeks, so thank goodness.
Oh, that's excellent news.
But it does come in handy though because it's a 4-wheeler and I can turn around and sit down in it if I need to. Plus, it's got a hidden compartment if I need to stash stuff while I'm walking. But I still don't use it.
Oh, that's cool. I want one of
If
those
you,
now.
if
Yeah,
you need
exactly.
if you need to stash
Yeah.
your knife,
If
can
you
put it
need
in your-
if you need to
Yeah.
stash your,
I put it right
your
under the
sword
seat.
cane. You need to stash your sword cane. You can stick it in your
or a rocket
mobile
launcher or
scooter.
something like that.
Yeah.
Or PG.
Brad Avery
No,
says he carries
sleep.
one just about everywhere he goes. Yeah. And Empyrean says you could get a stick umbrella like the Penguin, one that shoots hallucinogenic gas or whatever. Absolutely. Quack, 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 quack.
Whack, 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 whack.
I mean, you could get one like in Kingsman, with bulletproof netting rather than actually being an umbrella. It would work.
Frog G is right. Tickle the algorithm. Smash that like button, dingle the bells, and subscribe, please.
Dingle your bell.
Damn
Thanks for
right.
joining us here. Yeah. Anything? Any other business? Any other last minute thing you want everybody to know?
I ordered a level quarter 5 yesterday from the printer, so we are getting the full print run somewhere next week.
Sweet.
So we're going hard. And my wallet
I'm
is crying right now.
I'm
Yeah.
starting to fulfill the Kirby book pledges tomorrow. So,
Sweet.
Oh,
Mr. Reach, you should be getting yours soon.
Good.
And then I'm on with,
mine's
with
not
Hatch.
finished yet. It's on the way.
Russ, did I show you this? Can you see that?
I was going to say it's a
that's
good
nice.
name for an organized crime enforcers, Mr. Reach.
Look at that. Lovely.
Yeah.
Look at that lettering. Lettering on your boards, kids. Do it.
Yeah.
you can do it. It's not that hard. You're
I
just
don't know
gonna,
when
you
that's coming
know.
out, but it'll be soon.
So
They still make
I've got
Ames
one
lettering
last
guides.
Spider-Man.
So yeah,
I've got one last Spider-Man for you. There you go.
take a look at that. Boom. Oh, that's sweet.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's one.
wow.
And who did the coloring on that?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Jason. Oh God, I should remember his name. I've spoken to him so many times, but I can't remember his last name. He does a lot of color work for Panini.
It's an absolutely fantastic piece. It's just phenomenal.
I enjoyed that. Yeah, that was to draw the Marvel way.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Came out nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did. Very nice.
Definitely.
When did you do that, Russ?
Oh, that's got to be 3 years ago now.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't done any of that for a while now because it finished. But
No, that's nice.
That is. It's just beautiful.
yeah.
That's just great all around.
Yeah.
I'd make an excellent poster too, by the way. Maybe stick a logo.
Yeah,
down
I'll
in the
probably.
corner and-
I probably will do one at some point. Yeah. So I was just saying, I don't know that I'll ever turn up at a convention again because conventions they don't do that many in the UK anymore.
That's a
Certainly, the pandemic has stopped them, and the ones they do are mostly full of stuff other than comics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I
you
hear
get
that.
the 2 or 3 main ones, the really big ones that apparently you can sell some original artwork at. But I'm not big enough name to get asked to guest there. So
You might need to
I can't
migrate
see
over here because we still have one every single weekend.
really,
Yeah.
wow.
Like for such a small country,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Well, I would really like at some point once I've got the Only Death Can Save Us books out at
Thanks, Frog. Thanks, Frog G,
Amazon.
very much. Appreciate
What
you
I'll
very
do
much.
is
Go
I
ahead.
will
Welcome,
have
Frog.
them translated. So I'll be looking for the appropriate markets to translate into.
Sure.
So obviously French is the first one, but
French,
then,
yes.
other languages. So French,
If
Spanish,
you want to translate
Italian.
it to Dutch,
Yeah.
if you want to translate it to Dutch,
at some point.
yeah.
At some point, I will come speak to. So I'll come speak to you, so you can point me in the right direction. But yeah, that's something. It's basically looking for the places where there's still a vibrant market for comics, and Europe has a vibrant
Franco-Belgian,
market.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Franco. Yeah.
Well,
So
just
even though my stuff is very sort of Americana, it's very much 70s and 80s Marvel kind of stuff. It still has a place, and people can still enjoy it. And I think all it needs to do is just translate it and get it in the right places, and it should be able to sell. So then I can actually offer it on Amazon in different languages. So
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
That would be.
See, I wouldn't have a problem with the translation with Hatch because he doesn't say anything.
no, exactly. You got it. Maybe I should just do a coloring book.
And don't forget, always in times of economic hardships, comics always flourish.
Yeah, that's when. Yeah, I'm hoping
We're probably booming. We're just not seeing it because of the crap that the big guys are doing.
Yeah, well, I saw them
so inferior.
Saw a couple of videos yesterday where they were talking about the book sales market, and saying that actually in the top a top 750 graphic novels and books for the year. There was nothing from Marvel.
Yeah.
And there was only 17 books from DC.
Yeah.
And the DC was first in 2015, and it's now 6th.
Yeah.
And the top players are Dogman. Who publishes Dogman? It's
Scholastic.
Scholastic. That's it.
Yeah.
Scholastic and manga.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Viz Media or something?
Viz is a manga publisher. Yes.
Yeah. So they're the
think
people that are doing really well in bookshops, at least.
I think it's Dark Horse right now publishes Berserk.
Yeah,
Up
that's
here,
right.
not Berserker, but Berserk.
But so not
Manga.
so much in the direct market, but in bookshops.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
And actually, Scholastic did a Miles Morales Spider-Man book that did extremely well.
Yeah.
So they were obviously doing something right with it for kids. But
They know how to market. They've always marketed to a younger audience.
Yeah.
So
And that's where my heart is, to be honest, drawing that kind of all ages stuff for everybody to enjoy, for kids to enjoy.
Right.
Because I think comics are incredibly important as an education tool. And I don't just mean, here's a subject, let's put it in a comic. I mean, just reading comics.
Yeah.
It's just so great for for kids' education. And it's not seen that way because very much in the UK and a bit in the States, there was a snobbish perspective on comics. So it wasn't a real art.
Always.
It's
It's
a real,
been over here. Yeah.
Yeah, and because of that, it's lost out.
Down on anyway.
Education is lost out. Whereas in Europe, it's seen the other way around. In Japan, it's seen the other way around.
It's an art form.
Yes.
I actually have so many customers with kids who are going, yeah, you can learn English with this. You know, this
exactly.
is going to give you a head start, and they're completely right. You know, I don't give them the singular, but Loughran Cora, feel free to.
And it's funny too, because a lot of the teachers over here were very anti-comic for a long time. About 10 years ago, they started turning it around and saying, well, the kids are reading. They're reading comics. They're still reading.
Yeah.
And now there's no comics out there really for kids coming out of the big two.
No.
There's just nothing.
No, that's the problem. It's because somebody put this, I can't remember who it was I was listening to, but they really sort of made it succinct and kind of said, the larger corporate comics left their younger audience behind with the newsstand.
Yeah, about 30 years ago when Diamond
no
became
matter
the
what
big boss. Yeah,
I understand it's a lot more complicated than just saying put everything back on the newsstand. It doesn't work that way. I appreciate that, but that is exactly what happened. They left a massive audience behind, and we kind of lost a generation of comic book buyers.
A couple. The old newsstand system doesn't exist anymore.
No,
the drugstores aren't that prevalent with magazines.
No.
The bigger box stores have them shoved down an aisle in a usually one aisle in the middle of the store so that they can keep an eye on them. But
most of ours are now sold through supermarkets.
Yeah,
because large supermarkets, out of town supermarkets, have like massive newspaper and magazine racks, and you just go in there and buy stuff. So most of the stuff I do for Panini has been sold in those environments.
Yeah.
And actually, that's where you can get some kids because they're all down on the right, they're down below, low, and you can see them. And kids do pick them up. A lot of the time, the magazines that I've been involved with have had toys on the front, which is problematic in some way because the plastic and all that kind of stuff. However, that does seem to be the market. And so, if there's any way to get kids, reading, I think we can manage the plastic if we're clever about it. So I know that people like McDonald's do a recycle for all their plastic toys now. So there's no reason why you can't manage that kind of stuff and kind of entice kids in. I know a lot of people don't like the toys on the front of magazines, but I don't care as long as kids pick up a magazine and read it. Do you know what I mean? And that's the most important thing.
A couple of years ago, Peter Simeti suggested if we want to hit a younger market, if we want to hit a mass market right now, the place we need to go into is the dollar stores.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
we really do. We need to come up there. There's a desperate need for cheap, inexpensive, easily accessible comics.
Yeah, what
out there, and that would really grow the market if it would.
Pete needs to talk to Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to get Peter and Elon Musk together in the same room. Okay, and Elon Musk will then give him several $1 million. Okay, because that's not even peanuts to Elon, is it? Okay, he's talking about billions, and he could set up the racks, the spinner racks. You could do the same. You could set up the spinner racks in every dollar store in the country. We could get kids reading again.
You don't even need
that overnight.
You don't even need the spinner racks. You just need a little bit of shelf space next to all of them crazy puzzle books that are out there.
Elon, if you're out there and you're not watching this, I know you're not, but if you are, please help us.
The worst part is, like, the printer I have right now, if I were to run 10,000 copies offset at the quality you're getting already from me, I would be paying like 40 cents a pop. So at that point, $1 would be worth it.
Yeah.
The problem is reaching that amount of people.
Well, the paper that I used to print didn't have any staples in it. It was quarter folded down, could fit into a magazine bag, but I was getting those for about 12 cents.
Oh yeah, no, those folds are even better. Yeah.
Yeah, just like the Wednesday comics that DC did. I keep saying it over and over again. They were stupid to stop that because they could have really grown a weekly market and a lot of weekly habits of people coming in the shop every Wednesday with that Wednesday comics. They'd just had to keep it out there for 6 months or so until everybody noticed it. When I was doing my paper, I did 100 issues of that, 10,000 print runs a piece. But it took about a year for everybody to really realize it was out there and out there on a regular basis. And then they started looking for it.
Yeah.
And then it got to be really rewarding there for a long time with people just desperate to get the next issue.
It's all a matter of growing. It's not you throw it out there and you're immediately going to be a millionaire. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't matter what you do.
Yep. A lot of this, especially a so-called new product, is really an old product, but into a newer market takes a little time to grow. But you stick one of those, and if you go into a dollar store, you see puzzle books in every freaking size that you can imagine that you can print in newsprint. Now, why can't they do that with black and white comics and stick a book out there for, in even a digest size book for $1? You could take any comic story and cut it down or blow up panels or do whatever you have to do in order to fit as much of each page and stretch them out real well. You can do a good book for $1 out there and print it rather really inexpensively, on newsprint, nice and white newsprints. Well, all the paper now is expensive, but it's not that as expensive as a lot of the other paper out there. There's a lot that you could still do. You just have to break out from this stupid idea that a comic has to look a certain size and fit a certain bag and be backed by a certain board and slabbed by certain companies or all this. Comics just needs to be accessible out there for everybody.
Yeah.
The days of the old Sunday Funnies papers are just about gone because hardly nobody buys newspapers anymore.
And they've gone smaller and smaller, haven't they? The strips inside.
Oh, the strips have gotten ridiculous. Yeah, micro-sized.
Oh, yeah. I know several comics creators in the Netherlands that just lost their job because the newspapers didn't want to distribute them anymore.
Yeah.
And and one of them does Dating for Geeks, which is exactly what it sounds like. Just a daily comic about geeks failing at dating. He did a crowdfunding campaign because he lost his job at the biggest newspaper we had. And he managed to get 3 years worth of income from that single crowdfunder.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still shows he's got a readership out there. Absolutely.
Yeah, it shows he's got a fan base. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking 1.2 million readers every single day.
Yeah.
For that news strip, in that newspaper. And that was just distributed at train stations, it was completely free. And he had such a big reviewer base in the Netherlands and Belgium that he is still, living off of it without a problem. And he ran that 3 years ago, and now he's just living off of his books.
Yeah.
It's insane.
To do it. Yep. Reach, tell people how they can find you.
Oh, okay. You can find me at russleach.com. There you go. You can find out all about my books, all about me, all about Reach, all about all the stuff I do at russleach.com. All the connections to my other websites, to Only Death Can Save Us, to the work that I've done, and to my YouTube channel for Comic Book Black Belt. And you can find out how I do all that stuff there. That's it. russleach.com. Don't forget.
russleach.com. Mike, Jimmy, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find everything about me on my link tree put down here below. Of course, Loughran Cora 5 is fulfilling really soon. So if you still haven't picked up your plushie or your variant cover, everything is by limited order. So they're coming in this week. Be quick or they're going to be gone. So yeah, time's running out, guys.
Cool. Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me on Amazon, books and magazines on there. You can get Comics Unlimited on there. And you can also listen to me on Comics Unlimited podcast on Thursdays at 10 a.m. EST. Is that right?
Yeah.
EST.
Eastern Standard Time. Yes.
Yeah, and you can also find me on Indiegogo with this. If you're a comics collector, the greatest comics creator ever, this is my story about getting to him, and it comes complete with a DVD. That's on Indiegogo in demand, and you can reach me on Facebook if you want to ask me anything.
Cool.
We
I've been
should
your
call him
host.
the Fleming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find me over on Facebook. Please don't look for me on Twitter. I am there, but I'm never there. And other than that, Arrow Comics 4.0 all over the place. And here at the Ragin 2 Network, we'll be back again Tuesday night for Dispatches from Outside the Box with C. Michael Lanning and Stone Abdullah and myself, all talking about some theme over there that C. Michael makes up and runs. Then on Wednesday night, you can find me over at the Zimcast, where we talk about media and pop news with a bit of an opinion over there Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we'll be back here again Sunday morning for the Sunday Funnies at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. So hope to see you then. We want to remind everybody of all of the different shows over on the Ragin 2 Network. We just added Sketchy Saturdays with Mike Jimmy.
That's right.
That's on Saturday mornings at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's also Daphne Lage has 10 a.m. Sorry. It's in the morning, Eastern Standard Time.
It's in the morning.
In the morning for us, in the mid-afternoon for you. Art live stream with Daphne Lage at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays. Then there's also Nerd Bacon Thursday mornings with great Luke Stone and JD Calderon's Talking Comics on a Sunday nights at 7:30. I do believe he has a broadcast he's going on with tonight. I'm pretty sure he is. I haven't seen a.
Yeah, no, he is.
I'm pretty sure he's got that up there. Want to remind everybody again about the Long Shots campaign. It's extended for another. I think it's only got 28 more days left. It's 7 publishers, 9 books, one big deal. That second from the left there, that Hero Bot Zero book, that's all mine. They're pretty much all mine. I had a little help here and there, but the majority of it's mine. You have God's Hand, you have Hero Bot Zero, Hybrids, Only Death Can Save Us by Reach, the Oswald Chronicles, Revolt, Shield of the Interceptor, Tall Tales, or So I Thought, and Well Keeper. All together, one nice package, beautifully printed, 32-page comics for only $25 plus shipping. So go.
You get double reach there. Double reach.
Reach.
I did Interceptor as well.
Interceptor. Yeah. Long Shots campaign over on Indiegogo or the Fellowship of the Indies over on Kickstarter. So go over there and check on both of those. So deeply appreciate you. We want to thank everybody for listening to the Sunday Funnies for the 10th of April, 2022. Any last words, anybody?
Yeah, I want a royalty from Mr. Reach for coining a new identity for him every time.
All right.
Because you're going to get all the time now.
Okay. Every time I have somebody address me as Reach, I'll give you a penny. Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's
We wanna
trade up.
remind-
Reach.
There you go.
There's 5p you owe me.
I don't recognise that address.
Want to remind everybody that if you love this industry, to tell other people that you love this industry, and please leave this industry in better shape than what you found it. And make sure you buy alternative and independent comics and graphic novels publications, especially ours. So take care, everyone. We shall see you soon.
See you later.
Das Vidania.
Take care now.
Yay! Think about what you've accomplished.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.